and my best friend said to me, "Hey, you should get into real estate." And I said, "I'm not really a salesperson." He said, "It's not about sales. It's about building relationships." And he said, nobody can build a relationship like I can." So, I kind of thought about it for a couple of months and really thought,
All right, Mr. James Taylor, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it.
thank you, Chris, and thank you for inviting me. Happy to be here.
Well, yeah, thank you. As I was mentioning to you just off screen a little bit, this is just an opportunity for you and I to get to know each other a little bit more, and also too, I like what you do. I like what you do with the Chamber of Commerce, James, and I think it's a great opportunity for the people in the community that might not know who you are or what you do to just become familiar. So
I
let's
appreciate it.
start. Yes, sir. So let's start at the beginning. What got you into real estate in the first place?
Well, it's kind of a funny story. I was kind of floundering around. I was working in a couple of different businesses. I worked in restaurants for about 20 years and kind of burned out. So I was figuring out what to do for the next chapter. And my best friend said to me, "Hey, you should get into real estate." And I said, "I'm not really a salesperson." He said, "It's not about sales. It's about building relationships." And he said, nobody can build a relationship like I can." So, I kind of thought about it for a couple of months and really thought, well, that's kind of what I did in a restaurant. I had 55 minutes, the average table turnover time, to build a relationship with a table and get them to come back to the restaurant. So, I kind of thought and thought and thought, and I said, you know what, I'm going to try this. I'm going to see how it is. My wife was totally against it. She's in real estate as well as an attorney and didn't want both of us to be in the business. Um, but I did it anyway, and she supported me, and I I loved it. Absolutely loved it from the beginning.
Yeah, it's would you agree, James? I worked in a restaurant in my teen years, and honestly, I think everybody on the planet Earth should do that because it really puts you in touch and in tune with so many wonderful things and so many frailties,
Yes. Yes.
right?
It gives you a perspective that you wouldn't have if you've never done it on how to treat people. And, on top of that, it teaches you to multitask. It teaches you urgency. It teaches you so many different skills that you can't learn them all in one place except in a restaurant.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. A couple things. One is would be working, and I'm watching the clock. It's getting closer to 10 o'clock at night. We're about to close down. Party at 20 walks in at 5 of 10. and and they have no sense of urgency and like, oh, they were supposed to close in 5 minutes, so let's eat quick and go. Like they'll be there, almost till the lights are turning off. So, wherever I am, I just have a phobia about being, oh, you guys are closing in 5 minutes. I'll be out in 1 minute or
Right.
something like
Right.
that. Um, so that's that's one piece of it. And then yeah, the other thing, I took my brother out for his birthday last night, and just went to a local restaurant. And anybody that has ever gone out to eat with me, at the end of our meal, I'll always pile the dishes
Yeah.
right by the side. And it's almost, I almost feel like like if you and I were going out to a restaurant, once you're done with your plate, I'd be grabbing your
Yep. Yep. And honestly, as somebody who works in a restaurant, they notice that and they say, "Oh, they used to work in a restaurant." And that's something that they notice.
You're 100% right about that. Or I'll identify myself and I'll say sorry, but I used to work, and they're like, oh no, I can tell. Thank you so much. There's a lot that you can a lot you can learn. James, are you originally from this area? Did you grow up in?
I am not. Although I've been here quite some time. I grew up in the Buffalo area, just south of Buffalo, and moved here when I was 21. wasn't doing much out there, and kind of my brother was out this way, so I said, "Hey, why not? New adventure." And now I've been here for over 30 years, and um, I moved to the Foxborough Mansfield area probably 12 years ago. Um, Left for a short time. My now wife, when she was my girlfriend, we lived together in Quincy for a short time near her mother. But then we moved back out this way.
Okay, nice. What did you differences culturally between Buffalo and this area? What did you notice, or what do you?
Buffalo is very, very blue collar, very blue collar. It's just a blue collar community. They work hard, they play hard, um, it's just the way that the business is out there. There's not a lot of, when I was there anyway, there weren't a lot of executive jobs, high paying jobs. They were kind of few and far between. So it was very much a working class area. And, you come out here and you see some of the prices of housing and the prices of rents and the how much jobs are paying, and it's unheard of out there. Absolutely unheard of. Even in Buffalo, it's just unheard of. And I was from a small town south of Buffalo. Um, but I will say that Buffalo is currently, and last year also, was the number one real estate market in the country. And the reason being is a lot more high paying jobs are going to Buffalo now because of the housing prices and because the economy is, a little lower, that they can build, uh, big buildings there. They can build their corporations there, and they can move their businesses there and save money and find talented workforce as well and bring them to the area and get them houses for under $400,000. And with that, some of the chip the microchip industry is going out there as well, which I don't know what's going on with that as far as government goes, but they were getting a lot of grants for that.
Oh wow. I giggled when you said 400,000 because in this area probably better than most. 400,000. You're really talking probably about a condo. Am I is that right to say?
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I mean,
or
depending on the area, but yeah, anywhere near the Mansfield, Foxborough, Norton area, 400,000 doesn't really get you much of a single family unless it's a real small one.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's interesting. My oldest daughter lives down in Charlotte, and it was the first time that I really appreciated the difference because I've only lived here my whole life, so all I know about prices from this area, but the difference in what she can get down there versus here. And again, wage is going to be a little lower, of course, but it's oh, is that why people, in retirement years and such, not just the warm weather, it really is. It's a stark difference.
I've actually, my wife and I have looked at properties in South Carolina and near the Charleston area.
Yeah, yeah.
And there's a town down there that is really up and coming.
Mhm.
It's one of the hotter markets in the country, and you can buy a 3 bed, 2 bath, 1,600 square foot house that's no more than 4 or 5 years old for $350,000.
That's
It's unbelievable.
unbelievable. Yeah, yeah. I know that's amazing. Um, Tell me about Town Square and kind of how that all came about. Obviously, I understand how you transitioned over to real estate and the suggestion, and then you found that you really like it. Where kind of the genesis of going out on your own, so to speak, come from?
So when I started in real estate, I started with my best friend's brokerage, small boutique brokerage. Uh, that really, I was on my own, which is good, which was a good thing. I could do it the way I wanted to do it, and I could treat my clients the way I wanted to treat them. And my broker, who was my best friend, he supported me the whole way. He taught me the whole business. But he also let me work with my clients the way I needed to work with them. Uh, Down the road, several years, I wanted to open my own office, and we couldn't really come together to figure out how to open a second office for this brokerage. So I ended up leaving and I went to one of these national brokerages, and it was not right for me. Not right for me at all. Very much dictating what I could charge my clients, dictating how I had to work with my clients. I lasted 9 months and I said, that's it. I'm opening my own, I'm doing my own thing. That's when Town Square came about. And my whole purpose of Town Square is to create a little bit of a different culture with real estate, that the client actually comes first. Because everybody will say the client comes first, but they really don't. It's really about making their commission and making their money. I want the client to come first. Now, I have a business, I need to put food on the table, but that doesn't mean I need to overcharge clients or I can't go that little extra mile to help somebody. Or, even if we're working together and it doesn't seem like the right fit, I'll let you out of the contract, go work with somebody else. I'll help you find somebody else. This is about you buying a property, not me. And other companies, especially the national company that I worked for, they would never let you out of a contract. So that's I wanted to do it the right way.
Yeah, it's interesting at personal best. The If somebody was to ask me, what separates us, what I think we do quite well is, number one, we meet people where they're at, and super super important, and we're very student centric. It's not about us. But probably like in your business, based on your comment, everybody says that they do that. But this is my 33rd year in business, and I've had so many people over the years that maybe went somewhere else, and then there's some really good places out there for sure. But so many of them have come back and said, "Yeah, I thought it was the same, and oh boy." And I'm sure you probably get that a lot. I'm unfamiliar with your industry, but based on your comment, I never really thought about the bigger named companies out there and how regimented they probably have to be for congruency and reasons that are important to them. But
Right. Right.
for somebody like yourself, I can see where that wouldn't be, that's not a good fit.
Yep. Yep. And
Yeah.
on top of it, honestly, the fees are less to open my own business. And it cost me some money up front, but my ongoing fees are less than what I would be paying another national company.
Okay.
Therefore, I can charge a little bit less.
Yeah, wow, isn't that interesting?
Yeah, and so, I can make exceptions for clients. I can do things that other brokerages wouldn't necessarily do or want me to do. Perfect example is I listed a house just this week up in Stowe, Massachusetts. Nice little ride. Beautiful area, quiet. Um, I had to go up and clean the house because they moved to South Carolina. And when they moved, they told me straight out, we didn't have time to finish the cleaning. So I went up there with my bucket and my mop and my broom and my all my cleaning supplies, and I went up there and I cleaned their house for them. What other brokerages would do is say hire a cleaner and charge it to them. Well, why? I have a couple hours I can go do that.
My arm's unpainted on. I can do
Right.
that.
Right. So, I'm saving my clients some money. I'm getting it done. You know, there's no reason why you can't go that extra mile.
It's you bring up a real important point because we're always faced with those decisions, short term, long term, and I value relationship with people that are in it for the long term because there are situations and things like that will happen. You gave the example of them just, I'm so sorry, but we had to rush, and it's nice when you feel like somebody's got you, but don't worry about it. We got it. It's all good. I got you know, and that really is nice. I think back to when I first started. I had a relationship with a one of the larger banks, national or international banks. Again, not that they're not a good company,
Yes.
but it was I can't compare it to the relationship that I have right now, where the banker knows my name. The banker, I can text her.
That's the key word, relationship.
It really is. It makes such a difference.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anytime I can do something local, it's not even a, yeah, it's
I have
just what,
my personal business, my personal bank account is with one of the national or, bigger branches and or bigger banks, and I don't know anybody there. Um, my business account is local, and I go into that branch to cash my checks or to, get anything done at the bank I need to get done. I know all the tellers. I know the branch manager. When I walk in, I walk through the door and people are saying hi to me by my name.
yes, yeah.
That's what I like. That's what
Isn't,
I want.
isn't that something? I mean, it's just, and it's a good reminder for us as business people. That's the opportunity that we have. And it's such a nicer experience. It really is. The bank that I was working with, and again, just a different situation, but I'd have to call the 800 number. I'd have to try to explain to them who I am, and then they'd ask me a question. Can you look at your last statement and read off this? And I don't have it with me. Well, I'm sorry, we can't help you.
What was the name of your first pet? And yeah. So let me. So this is where I see it. In the last 5 years, 19 million small businesses have opened in the United States.
Wow,
19 million.
wow,
Okay, so 95% of business in the United States is small business. And now they classify small business as under 500 employees. I'll tell you, if you have over 50 employees, I think that's pretty big.
yeah, I think,
But under 500, so 19 million. It's a really big trend right now to open a business. And I get it. I absolutely get it. That's why I did it too. But the relationship building is not a skill that everybody has anymore. Our generation's a little different. Our generation believes in those relationships. A lot of the younger generations don't. And it's not their fault. It's
of course,
technology, it's always on their phone. Um, you know, Building a one-on-one relationship with somebody is a skill that
yeah,
is so needed in business.
yeah. It's just so refreshing.
Yes.
It really is. I had a just twice in the past, well, since January. I I actually had two handwritten thank you notes sent to me. And where did they go? Well, you've been in my office. They went into my desk drawer because it was so important to me
Yes.
versus the typical things that we all get. And I have to confess, I send those typical things out too. But to your point, that little extra touch, boy, oh boy. I mean,
The
what did
handwritten letter is such a lost art. Really is. I'll tell you, we did the annual meeting for the Chamber of Commerce, and the state auditor was at the speaking at our meeting.
Yep.
Diane DeZoglio, and afterwards she sent me a card. As president of the chamber, she sent me the card saying thank you. And did she write it or did one of her assistants? I don't know, but it's on my fridge right now. My wife
Yes.
put it up on my fridge because it's a nice thing from the state auditor that she sent that to me. She didn't have to send that to me.
Right, right, right. Yeah, it's amazing. And once you feel it, then you realize, geez, how important it is. You segued perfect into my next question as the connection to the community, and of course you and I, because you were kind enough to come up to my office, which is at the chamber, and we were able to connect. But tell me how the connection with Tri-Town happened. Obviously, you are the big cheese there.
I guess. Uh, 8 years ago or so, a little bit more, I think more like 9 years ago, I moved to Mansfield when I moved back from Quincy, and I didn't know anybody here. And I had my business. It was starting off, it was kind of getting on its feet. And so I joined the chamber to try to get to know some people so I could, learn some names around town and, be able to pop into some businesses and say hi, that type of thing. And when I joined, I realized how much benefit there was. And I started taking the free social media classes that our former president, Jennifer Vondenbrink, was putting on. And I started going to all the networking events and I just started getting to know some people. And it got to a point where my wife hated going to the grocery store with me because I'd walk in and I'd see four people I knew and I'd just have a conversation with everybody. And so it was working. I was getting to know people. But because I was also getting so involved with the chamber and going to all the events, they asked me to sit on the board. And then a year later, they needed somebody to become the treasurer of the board. So I did that. And a couple of years later, because I was such a big supporter of the chamber and I was so involved in it, they asked me to be president.
Now, isn't that great? And how's that been for you?
It's been fantastic. I mean, it's work. It is definitely work, and it is a volunteer position. But I'll tell you, it's a different light on me at this point, where I do go to events or I go to different places in town, and uh, people actually come up to me to talk to me like I'm important. And I appreciate that. But it's been great getting my name out for my business and just name recognition and brand recognition. It's fantastic. But, that's on my business side. On the chamber side, I love it because the chamber creates a voice for businesses like ours. You and I, we can go to our town hall and we can talk to our town manager and we can talk to the select board, and we're just a couple of people trying to make a change. But when you get 300 or 350 businesses together, that voice becomes a little bigger and they might listen. So, that's a big thing for me is bringing that collective voice together, that we become a force. And then on top of it, I can help other businesses just by, I may know somebody that, wants to take a class, wants to learn self-defense. I can send them to you. That can help your business. It's
Sure,
maybe someday you'll send me somebody.
sure.
That's how it works. And this
Yeah.
chamber in particular is very big on building relationships,
Yes.
not so much on building transactions. Transactions come after the relationship.
Yeah. And I appreciate you saying that. I think that's a real good point. I have a spider sense in me that I sense you have in you, where we can probably tell when somebody is being self serving, when somebody's being opportunistic, when somebody's networking for their own benefit, as opposed to, no, I'm sincerely here. I'd love to get to know you. Tell me, there's a level of sincerity. And then out of that is a natural reciprocity if you're playing the long game, which will absolutely happen.
Yes.
And um, but that's for people that are considering the chamber, or I've been involved with other organizations as well. I think for it to be successful, you really have to go in there with that right that right.
Well, one of my favorite books to read, and it's such a fast read, it's like 120 pages, is The Go Giver.
I
And
know, I know.
it's all about giving, and, genuine and not giving because it's going to get you business. You
Yeah,
give because you genuinely want to help somebody.
right, right. Yeah, yeah. And I have to imagine being the president of the chamber. It's exponential for you because of the impact that you can have. I would sense that the people that are meeting you on the street or in the supermarket are genuinely happy to see you.
And that
It's
feels good too. It feels
yeah,
good.
of course.
Um, you know, I love walking into meet somebody, and I walked into another real estate agent's office one day just to congratulate him on their new office. And I walk in and the uh, administrative assistant that was there said, "Hey, I recognize you from Instagram."
Yeah,
That feels good, because hey, my work's working. The work I put in is actually working, getting my name and face out there.
yeah, which is
Um,
great.
and it's very similar that I walk into some meetings or a restaurant even, and somebody says, "Hey, I remember you from the business after hours event the other night."
Right, right.
You
Yeah.
know, so it's good.
Yeah.
It's it
Of
means what
course.
I'm doing is actually getting my name and my brand out there.
Right, absolutely. And in your heart. Yeah, right. Because people again feel the sincerity. Jumping back to real estate, and I want to be respectful of your time.
Oh yeah.
Um, Things that you love about it, things that you hate about it, or any funny stories you got?
Oh boy. I'll tell you what I love about it. What I absolutely love about it is helping people, especially first time buyers. So nothing beats that light in their face when you hand them the keys for the first time. You know, when they sign all that paperwork and you've just done your 5, 6 weeks of, you know, process on top of the 2 months of showings that you did, and they finally get to the finish line.
Yeah,
And it's so nice to be able to hand them those keys. You know, and in the same respect, it's very frustrating at times when you're helping, you become so invested in these people, so invested in them. And the market hasn't been easy in the last several years.
yeah,
So there's so many frustrations. And I tell people all the time, you're going to kiss a lot of frogs before you find the prince. So you're going to, you know, that goes a couple of ways. One, you're going to look at a lot of houses that just aren't it until you find the one that is. But you're also going to submit a lot of offers that probably aren't going to get accepted until the right house comes along. And then you're going to get your offer accepted. But it's so hard 6, 7, 8, 9 times to say, I'm sorry, your offer wasn't accepted.
yeah. So you have to. I imagine you almost have to be a bit of a therapist.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
because you're dealing with the highs and lows of emotions, which is it's that's not an easy field to navigate.
It's not. It's not. And it's really, like you said, it's meeting people where they are. And it's, you know, understanding where they're coming from when they're speaking to you.
I
You
see.
know, I currently have a client right now who's a little nervous,
Yeah.
you know, and they're selling their house and they're buying a new house. We're under agreement on both. We've signed purchase and sale agreement on both. It's moving along great. But she, you know, really wants this new house. So everything is very like, you know, oh, what's next? What do I need to do? What should I be doing today? Okay. You know, I understand you're so excited. Here's where you're going to focus your energy. And I give her a task to do and say, look, you have 3 days. Take your time. You know, so, you know, and kind of keep her a little busy,
Yeah.
you know, and let her feel like she's making some traction. We're in no rush. There's no urgency. And I don't want to tell her that because I don't want her to, you know, just sit for 3 days wondering what she's supposed to be doing.
Right.
So,
Yeah. It's. I've never thought of it that way until you said it. I mean, you're really coaching, right? Yeah. There's a level of leadership, influence, coaching that's happening as you strengthen the relationship. Dealing with the ups and downs and all of that. It's not easy. From the outside, it's like, oh, realtors, they make their own hours, they
oh,
work when
yeah.
they want.
We make our own hours. Here's the thing. You can work any hours you want to work. It doesn't mean your clients are going to be working those hours. So you may not have those clients. We all have bosses still.
I love it. As far as in the community, are there any causes or things that are particularly near and dear to your heart that you want to talk about?
There are, of course. And I actually just put a post up on Facebook and Instagram yesterday that talked about, you know, I'm a 53-year-old real estate broker and I'm still a work in progress. But honestly, I love real estate. But if I could do whatever I want to do, I would be golfing and I'd be volunteering my time for nonprofits. Um, so currently, including the Chamber of Commerce, I sit on 4 boards of nonprofits.
Oh wow!
I'm also on the board for the Board of Incorporators for the YMCA, Hockomock YMCA. I'm on the board for the Mansfield Housing Association, I'm sorry, Mansfield Housing Corporation that focuses on affordable housing. And the big one, though, is the Safe Coalition out of Franklin. I'm new to their board. Um, They're an organization that works with individuals and families with mental health or drug abuse issues. Um, Very near and dear to my heart. Funny thing is, through Chamber is where I met them, and the two founders, Jennifer and Jim, came to Chamber when I was serving on the community relations committee. We wanted to help them revamp their message and revamp their website and really get their branding going in the right direction. And we were able to help them a little bit. But when I met them 7 or 8 years ago, they were working out of their car and traveling around to 7 or 8 different communities that they worked with, trying to, help people and do Narcan training and teach parents what to look for in a kid's
Yes.
bedroom or something like that. They are now serving 55 communities in Massachusetts and Rhode Island, Connecticut, I believe, um, traveling around the country helping other nonprofits of this type get started.
Wow.
They have several employees in a 5,000 square foot office in Franklin. They've done it right. They've done it right. And they do all of this counseling and assistance at no charge to their clients.
That's amazing. It's geez, I don't know that I don't know whether I've crossed paths with them or not, but you know, there's so many people doing such extraordinary things in our community. Sometimes it almost feels like unless somebody takes a gun out and starts shooting people, they're just not gonna get the attention that they deserve for the godly work that they're doing.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Absolutely.
that's just that is just amazing.
And I will tell you that Jennifer Levine, who is one of the founders, she went to school for this, but she wanted to come back and do this here in Massachusetts. She was out in California. She came back to Massachusetts because friends of hers from high school were dying of overdoses, and she wanted to come back and help.
Wow.
Jim, uh, Jim Derrick, the other founder, is lived experience. He lost a son to addiction, but he will sit with you and talk with you about absolutely anything with zero judgment, and you never want to get up and leave. You just
Yeah.
want to keep talking to him because he's so easy to talk to and so non-judgmental.
Mm,
It's
mm.
so great, so great. They're doing such great work there.
Yeah, and it's the community services is near and dear to my heart, and as I can tell, it's yours. It just there's a level. Yes, we contribute, but I know this is the answer to this when I ask you. You get back more than you're giving, and it sounds so corny to say.
And honestly, I ask for nothing from them,
Yeah,
but you do. You get it back emotionally. You get it back in peace of mind, and
yeah.
yeah,
Also, would you agree? Also, perspective, right?
yes, yes,
Because when you're running your own business and you're dealing with the things that you and I know about that come with away from the glamour. Uh, Sometimes you need a little perspective adjustment on. Oh, you know what? I'm okay.
yes. And I also look at it this way that we're both in business that the consumers are coming directly to us. So we are taking and taking and taking from the community, and our business are surviving because of that. We need to give back to the community, in whatever way we can. And if anybody is ever too busy to give something back, then you need to take a step back a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. I can tell you there have been times that I've hit some lower points in my life. Nothing like what you're talking about. What the travesty of what Jim had to go through. But when I look back, there was some kind of disconnection. Like I forgot the importance of the work I do, or I even if I was doing the community service, I lost touch with the reason why. And the we can stay to those things, I think the more centered we are, the more present we can bring to what it is that we do. Yeah, I really appreciate you sharing a little bit about them. In the name of their group again?
Safe Coalition.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
just it's amazing, and I don't know. I'm almost thinking maybe I have indirectly crossed paths with them, but I definitely you're kindling something up in me here. So
So
hopefully,
just
my
to give you an idea,
yes, please.
they do a lot of things. They've been helping with some housing for people who are, um, housing challenged. They give out diapers to single mothers. We for the chamber last year for the summer barbecue. We've last couple of years we've been taking a nonprofit and benefiting them at our summer barbecue. So a couple of years ago it was School on Wheels. We asked everybody to bring certain school supplies to the barbecue and donate them, and we filled an SUV with school supplies. Last year it was diapers for Safe Coalition, and it was something like 35 or 40 cases of diapers that we collected there, and they were gone within 2 days. They handed them all out within 2 days.
Boy, isn't that something? You know, it's
That's the
again.
need. The need's there.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And it's the things that we, sometimes, we're lucky enough maybe to take it for granted.
Yep. Yep.
And yeah, it's a good, it really is. It's a good perspective shift, and it's a good reminder for all of us. That's tremendous. Well, good for you, my friend.
Thank
I'm
you. Thank you.
glad to see your business doing well. I'm glad to see that your name, your brand, your mission is getting out in the community. And I'm super glad to learn that the richness in your life is also there, which means is the contribution. And I think the way that you contribute to people that are looking for houses, I think there's a level of great contribution that you're having there too,
Thank
which is
you.
wonderful. Okay, two things before we wrap up. Okay, number one, what's going on with this housing market? Where where are we at? Is it buyer, seller? Is it
What time is it? Uh, so it's still very much a seller's market, and really the reason for that is there's so few houses for sale. Um, Now I could throw numbers at you all day long, but I can tell you right now there's about 3,800 single family houses for sale in Massachusetts. To be a neutral market, that doesn't favor a buyer or a seller, we need 8 to 10,000. So we haven't been there since before COVID. So it's been a seller's market for many years now, and it still is in a sense. But buyers are really pulling back a bit and saying, I'm not gonna cave to every demand the seller wants anymore. So buyers are taking a little control back. But there's just so few houses on the market. And so if you're a buyer and you're looking for a house, you're competing with 5, 10 people for that same house every time. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. And interest rates are high, but um we say they're high because they're high compared to a few years ago.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
They're actually right about normal.
yeah.
Um, but people have kind of realized that this is where the rates are. This is it. It's not going anywhere for a long time. So, but the challenge with getting listings right now is that all the homeowners that have that 2.5, 3%, 3.5% mortgage don't want to sell.
You got to replace it.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting.
There's so much equity in housing though right now. People who bought in 2021 when prices were outrageous have so much equity in that house now because prices have continued to rise.
Yeah. So, wow, that's really interesting. Um, Anything outside of what we've talked about that you enjoy doing, you and your wife enjoy doing, hobbies, or actually no, this takes roughly 120 hours of
Yeah,
my life
exactly.
every week.
I do love golf. I love to golf. I'll play in as many golf tournaments every year as I can. I have a membership at Top Golf. Uh,
Okay.
I go out as often and play as often as I can,
Okay.
which lately hasn't been much. Now that the weather's nicer and golf courses are open, I still haven't gotten out to play outside yet.
Okay. Okay.
But
And,
I love to golf.
yeah. What if I may ask? What do you shoot?
That's the problem. So I'm about a 15 handicap. Um, so
Amazing.
I had a pretty serious neck surgery a couple of years ago. Um, and so the year before that, I really had no strength in my right arm. So I wasn't playing very well. The year I had the surgery, I couldn't even pick up a golf club until May. And I wasn't hitting very well. So last year, I just finally started to hit a little bit better. And I dropped my handicap from an 18.8 to a 15.8 last year. So I'm hoping to get down to a 14 this year. So we'll hope. But I love it. I'm just not great at it. I just love it.
Listen, but you spend a lot of time on the golf course, so I have to ask you this question. Is there somebody in the clubhouse that will allow me to play as terrible as I do, yet they'll control the ball on the 18th hole for me so that I'll be like, I think I'm starting to get the hang of this. I'm gonna do this again.
We should come up with that technology. We really should. That would be the draw, huh?
Right. I always wonder, it's like, wait a minute, am I on hidden camera here? I didn't just hit that ball that way, did I? Got a name for this. Well, hey, listen, my friend, I appreciate the time. I appreciate your candor, your honesty. I think it's gone from laughs to some real touching things. And, it's just been fun to have the conversation and get to know you a little better. And I'm excited for other people to watch the podcast and also see what a beautiful human you are. And
Thank you.
yeah, for sure. So thank you so much for giving your time. And I certainly look forward to seeing you. At future chamber events. You're making me feel, even though I have an office there. Uh, Certainly, you've created a desire in me to be more active. So I appreciate that. All
Well,
right.
thank you. Thank you for having me. This was definitely enjoyable. I enjoyed talking to you.
Well, thank you so much.